But you'll notice child marriage is prohibited in the Quran, but that was not quoted. Child marriage is prohibited in the Quran. So when Muslims read a hadith which contradicts the Quran, they can reject the hadith, but they do not reject the Quran. Secondly, the hadith relating to the marriage of Aisha, there was a method of the Arabs that when they would pass into their teen years, they would mention their age through the numbers. They would say, for instance, I was 7 years old, and this happens in Bukhari as well. One of the companions, he says, I would lead my tribe when I was 7 years old. I would lead them in the prayer. Every Muslim knows that a 7-year-old is not permitted to lead the prayer. What that companion meant, he was 17 years old. And this is also a Jewish habit also. So many of the scholars, when they read that hadith of Aisha, radiallahu anha, they say that this, because Aisha was cognizant of what was occurring, she's reporting the event herself. A 6-year-old doesn't have cognizance of what is occurring. So they state that the age was in her teen years. Many of them have said that. But even if someone does not acknowledge that, the age of consent changes from anthropologically from time to time. You come from Australia, where you killed off the Aborigine people. The Aborigine people had their own culture and way of doing things. When the white Christian went there, they killed off the Aborigine people. But the Aborigine people, they had their own culture. In the Arab world, 9 was the age of consent, meaning a girl was considered a woman for consummation of marriage at the age of 9. In Yemen, the law was only changed recently. So anthropologists will tell you that you do not judge a culture with your modern outlook on a previous ancient culture. This is, of course, even the Christian apologetics and criticism of the marriage to Aisha radiallahu anha was only brought up after the 1900s. No Christian ever brought up the marriage of Aisha prior to the 1900s. Why? Because the standards had changed, cultures changed. A woman was no longer considered a woman at the age of 9 because of mental maturity, and therefore the law changed with time. So when Christians bring up the marriage of Aisha, they fail. For instance, in the Catholic Encyclopedia, of course, being an evangelist, you will deny the Catholic interpretation. They mention Mary was only 12 years old at the time, but you can easily reject that. But you went straight from the Quran to the Hadith. Now there is a reason for that.